All right, today we're going over the Cedar Creek Cottage 40CCK. We're going to take a walk around, show you all the basic functions. Hopefully you understand it by the end. So right here at the front, propane tanks are stored underneath here. Take a quick look at those. Got the twist valves here, left's open, right's closed. And your switchover valves right here. You just twist it. Whatever way that little arrow is pointing is whatever tank you're going to be using. So it's pointing this way right now. So if I were to open this tank up, we would be using gas supply from this tank here. Once it's empty, just switch it over and then open up this one. There's a little indicator on here that turns red when the tank's empty. That's just signaling there's no gas in the line. When it's green, that means there is gas present. Down here is where your battery is going to be stored, right on these rails here, and then these ends will be hooked up. And then you also have a propane connection right here. So if you wanted to hook up a griddle, something out here, you can attach an LP hose into here and then open this valve up, and that opens the gas supply to run gas to whatever you're going to be using out here. Salesman will go over the hitch process with you. Otherwise, it's just a manual crank right there to run that up and down. Walk around here. You have these stabilizing jacks kind of situated throughout all the corners and everything. You just run those down manually, or you can use a drill with a socket attachment on the end there to crank those down. This is your furnace exhaust. That does get hot if you're running your furnace, which runs on propane. So don't touch that if it's running because you'll burn yourself. Tires will be filled, lug nuts will be checked, so you'll be ready for the road. Cable satellite hook-ins right here, labeled on the sticker here of where that's running to. And then right here is your 50 amp power service. That's where that plugs in. And then you put the little collar down, flop the top down. Then in this little storage area here is where you can access the water pump. And that's also where you're gonna winterize later on. I'll show you how to do that. This top connection here is your city connection. So usually those who buy park models are staying somewhere that has direct hookup on the site. So you'd have, say, a spigot right here, hook your hose in, run it to the city connection, and turn the water on. That runs water directly to the faucets inside. So basically whatever pressure you're getting from the spigot out here is whatever pressure you're gonna get inside. If it's running high pressure, I would suggest to get a pressure regulator so you can run that pressure down. If you push high pressure into these, sometimes you can blow your lines out and then that causes a leak. Don't want that. So good idea to get a pressure regulator for the city connection. Next one down is the freshwater connection. So if you were staying somewhere that didn't have direct hookup, you'd fill up your fresh tank from here, plug the hose in, turn the water on, and it's going to start running water into that fresh tank. You can watch the tank levels from the inside so you'll know when it's full. I'll show you those levels inside later on. But once it's full, go ahead and turn your water pump on, and that's going to draw water from the fresh tank and pump it to your faucets inside. This bottom one here is the black tank flush. Black tank is the holding tank for your toilet. So this is to flush it out. So you'd hook a hose into here, turn the water on. That shoots water into the black tank, helps rinse it out, push anything out that gets stuck in there. Useful little thing. Then down here is the sewer exit. So that's where those toilet is going to drain, as well as your kitchen sink. So you have tank poles right there and there. They are color coordinated. So the one that is on the left is the black tank. The one on the right is the gray tank. Black is the toilet, gray is sinks and showers. And you actually have another pole down here for the kitchen sink, but that's going to also drain out of that exit over there as well. You pull those to open them and push them to close them. And then you have another drain over here for the fridge. So if you needed to drain the water out that's going to the fridge, you got that little cap right there. You'll take that cap off, and then there's a little push valve on the top. I don't know if you can see it. But it's labeled on there if it's a push or pull. Usually it's a pull to close and a push to open, but that would allow you to drain out any of the water that's going to the fridge. All right, so up under here are your low point drains, the low point of the hot and the cold side. And then right there, that blue hose is your fresh tank drain. That's in the open position right now, so to close it, you would just twist that valve towards you. Continuing on, we have this storage area here. This is actually underneath the bed. But you have your vacuum hoses here for the built-in vacuum inside. Other than that, just a little storage bay for you. And then back here is the residential water heater. So before you run your water from the city or from the fresh tank, just make sure that these fittings are open so that the water is actually going to be running to the water heater. It's currently closed off right now, but if I were to open this one up, that would allow the water to fill up the water heater. It does take a little while to fill. So while it's filling, I'll just leave the hot taps open on your kitchen sink. That way any of the air pressure that gets built up in here is released. So if we hold this pressure relief valve right now, probably let a little air out. You can hear that. That's what we would be letting out if we left that kitchen sink open. So as this fills, that pressure would be taken off. Once water's coming out of the hot side of the sink, smoothly, there's no like air bubbles or anything, it's just coming out in a smooth stream. That's so you know that this tank has been filled, my bad. But once it is filled, you can go ahead and turn it on. I'll show you where that switch is located to turn it on inside. And then for winterizing, all you got to do is just shut the water supply off to this so that you don't fill that up with antifreeze. Back here is your hydraulic pump. Not much you have to do with this, just make sure that that reservoir has enough fluid in it. And if you ever see this drip tray here filling with hydraulic fluid, that's how you know you got a leak somewhere in here. Typically, all you got to do to fix that is just tighten down the fittings. Sometimes they get loose as this thing gets transported down the road. So just a good thing to check on every once in a while to make sure you don't have a leak. We got this side here. Got outside speakers right there and right there. And then a outside cable connection here, so if you're throwing a TV outside, and then you got 2 outlets there as well. Back door entry to the bedroom, and then the front entry here. Don't think there's anything else on this side, so we will head inside. So as we walk in, and this little door here is going to be your control panel. So this is where you're going to be able to run those slides in and out, as well as the awning in and out. But first, this top panel here is those tank levels I was talking about earlier. So fresh tank, black tank, gray 1 and 2. As they fill, these red lights will come on. And then this is the battery level. It always reads full when the unit's plugged in, because obviously it does, because we don't even have batteries on this unit right now. So if you want an accurate reading of your battery, unplug the unit, then it will show you what it's actually at. You do have tank heaters on this unit. That warms the underbelly, keeps those tanks from freezing if you're camping in the winter or staying in here when it's cold outside. You have a water pump switch right here to turn that water pump on to draw water from the fresh tank and pump it to your faucets. Got a couple light switches here. This is the switch for your ceiling fan. Turns it on. And then you have the slide out in and out switch here and the awning in and out switch. And this switch right here just cuts the power off to the slides so that if you were to accidentally bump this button, they wouldn't go anywhere. Or if you're driving down the road, also good to turn the slide room off in case something went wrong. Anyways, awning in and out. If we hold out, and that awning is going to start winding out. And once the flap is facing straight down, that's how we know the awning's all the way out. So right there, that little valance is facing straight down. That's how we know we're all the way out. To pitch the awning, you have these joints on each side, one here and one over there. Usually I would pitch that side so the water runs off the back of the unit. But since I'm not tall enough to reach that one, we're just gonna do this one right now. So all you do is just pull down, and that tips the awning down so the water would run off this way. But again, I would suggest to do it in the back. You don't want to have a pool of water right there. Just push it back straight, and then you can run the awning back in. For your slide rooms, they are hydraulic, so they all kind of go in at the same time. Usually the one with the least amount of resistance will kind of move in faster than the other ones. But once it's all the way in, then the next one that has the least amount of resistance is going to come in. So they aren't always going to go in and out in the same order. So you have to be aware of that. Guess we can just run those slides right now. Why not? So we'll turn it on and we'll hit in. Just gonna make sure nothing is in the way. Always good to check to make sure there's nothing in the way of your slides when you're moving them. Check the floors, make sure there's no screws or anything sharp laying around, because that can end up scratching your floors up. But yeah, we'll hold in. And as you can see, that bedroom one's moving in first, so that one has the least amount of resistance on it. But once it's all the way in, then these other ones start to move. So that one's gonna go first, it looks like. And usually the lights will flicker a little bit, especially because there's no battery on this unit right now. But once that one's all the way in, see how those lights dim? It's because we don't have a battery on it. If we had a battery on it, it would go a lot faster. So I'm just gonna try not to have the system die out on me here. But now that that one's all the way in, this one's moving last here. And almost done. Just like that, and those are all the way in. So not really any walking space back here. You don't really have a lot of room to walk around when the slides are in. You can still get the bathroom though, which is nice. But anyways, I'll run those back out now so that we can actually walk around here. So now you can see I'm holding out, and that bedroom slide's going out first now, even though these ones came in last. So again, there's not really any order, just whatever one has the least amount of resistance on it. And now kind of both of these are moving. Looks like this one's gonna go first. All right, all the way out. So that's everything for this panel here. Take a look in here, I don't think there's anything, nope. Storage up here and down here. Trash cans. This right here on the countertop's your fridge lock. Throw that on here while you're driving so that that fridge doesn't fling open. You don't lose any of your important food items. Here's the King Wi-Fi system here. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to the King website. Otherwise, tons of videos on how this works and the specific setups of it. I'm not too familiar with it, so I don't want to go over it with you and just tell you something wrong. It's a lot simpler if you just find either their website or another YouTube video on it that goes in depth on how to set that up. Super cool though. Fire extinguishers next to the door. The dinette. On the sink are going to be your keys. Purple key is going to unlock the main door. The gray key is going to unlock compartment doors, and then these kind of house looking keys are going to do the slider. Scattered around on the wall are light switches. So those are both for these above slide out lights here and here. These do recline, I believe. Above that, yep. Just gonna bring them out. And then this is like a conventional pull-out sofa. So if I were to take this cushion off here, you can see the handle right there. You just pull it out and that will flop this into a bed. You have extra guests. Tucked behind the couch here is the screen door. We don't put the screen doors on because you can't have them on during transit because they catch a ton of wind and they can blow off. So we leave those off until you guys purchase them and we let you put them in yourself. For these blinds, it is always good to just be gentle with them when you're pulling them down. Don't whip them down too hard. You can break the mechanisms. So just be gentle as possible with them and they should last you for quite a while. Over here, kind of your entertainment center area, we got the electric fireplace down here. So again, electric doesn't use your propane. Great way to heat this place up. Give it a half hour, 45 minutes. It'll have this whole place nice and warm. Power on is right down here. Light color is there. Temperature up and down right here. And that is corresponding to the little display in the corner. So if I were to hit the temperature button, you can see it going up. And then this one right here is brightness. And then you got the radio, so power on's right there. Then you have speaker zones 1 and 2. Speaker zone 1 is these, and speaker zone 2 are those outside speakers. So if you tap them, that'll turn them off. Tap them again, turns it back on. This also has Bluetooth if you want to connect your phone to it. Play your own music, and then the DVD player. You just change the source, and then you can play the audio from the TV, or connect the DVD player to the TV as well. If we find the packet of information, and then all the remotes are there as well. So you have the TV remotes fireplace remote and radio remote all there. And then in the packet here is going to be information on the unit. The manual typically is in there, and then you also have the appliance manuals in there as well. You got your burners here, you have the fan for the oven, and then the light here for these. To light this, make sure your gas supply is open in the front. Then you just push in, turn to the left. You can hear that spark going off right now. And then once it lights, just let go and you can open it up to whatever temperature you want, high or low. So this is a burner, and then the central one is the oven. Before you light the oven, make sure you take all this plastic out, obviously. Manuals in there as well. But in those little grates on the bottom here, that's where you're gonna be able to see the flame. So that's how you know it lit. It's kind of same deal as the burner, so push in, turn to the left. Once you see that flame come on, then you can open it up to whatever temperature you want it. Microwave, pretty self-explanatory. You got your fridge here. If you want to learn more about your fridge, you can consult the fridge manual. And then on this wall here is the max air fan control for the vent up here. So if I were to hit on, it's going to open the vent out and turn the fan on. This does have a rain sensor on it, so if it were to start raining, it knows to close it. So you have fan speed adjustment here. Once you want to close it, just press fan off, and that will close the vent and turn the fan off. All right, so pre-press power again. That's going to turn zone 1 on. Fan speed right here, auto, low or high, and then the mode, off, cool, auto, or the furnace. Once you get to a setting you want to use, temperature up and down. And then, yeah, so that's the front. The furnace is only on the front one. Furnace runs through floor vents. AC runs through the ceiling vents. When you're running the furnace, put the fan on auto. That way, the AC fans don't come on. So if we go to zone, we turn the zone off. It's not so loud. If we go to zone, go to off, and then zone 2, right there, temperature up and down, change the mode. See, this one just has cool and fan. You can also program it on a timer, temperature up and down, super simple. Power that one down as well. Hopefully that one made sense. Again, if it didn't make sense to you, we can go over it with you again when you're here. Down below is the carbon monoxide and LP gas leak detector. That does draw off the batteries if the unit's not plugged in. So if you don't want your batteries to die, I'd take the negative end off the battery if you're storing this. Otherwise, just take the battery out entirely, put it somewhere warmer, put it on the charger so that it doesn't die. Back here is the bathroom area. Pedal flush toilet right here, so you step in there, that flushes the toilet. We open these doors. Nothing in there. We got the shower, just like one at home. Traveling, make sure that the latch is on. Don't want those doors slamming around on you. This does open. A little medicine cabinet back there. You have another max air fan in here, same as the one in the kitchen. So it's right up there. Also has a rain sensor on it, so it will shut if it starts to rain. And then you have GFCI right there. If you need to reset the outlets, that's right there. We'll walk back into the bedroom area now. Lift this up. A little storage under there. Otherwise, you got all your drawers. And then the bed. That lifts up as well to reveal that underneath storage. You got the jack cranks here as well as the blinds for the slider. You have an electric space heater back here as well. The furnace does run back here, so you don't need to use the space heater, but if you want to save propane, you can run this instead. So you just press the fan speed, and then you have temperature up and down, and it fires on. So when you press this, and that's going to turn it back off again. Ceiling fan in here, switch right there. A couple light switches there. And then storage above the bed. We slide this door here, area for washer dryer prep. If you want to add washer dryer, contact your salesman about that and you can get that added on for you. And if we are to slide open the closet, on this back wall here is the water heater switch. So to turn that on, flip that switch on, and that water heater is going to fire up. Make sure you don't turn the water heater on if it's empty. Otherwise, you can end up melting those plastic lines if that water heater were to get really hot, and then you could deal with a leak. So make sure that it's always shut off if there's no water in the system. All right, going over the winterizing process. Really simple on this unit here. You're gonna come out here, take this end of hose, stick it into a jug of antifreeze, and then twist this valve here to face the cutoff end hose. Changes where the water pump draws from. So now the pump is going to draw from the end of the hose here. Stick it into your jug of antifreeze. Turn the pump on from the inside, and then it's going to start pumping antifreeze through the lines. So you go inside, open up the hot tap of your hot and cold side of your faucets. At every faucet inside, do it one at a time. Run that antifreeze through the hot and the cold side until it's completely coming out in a smooth stream. There's no air gaps or water. Completely pink, both hot and cold. Make sure you get plenty of antifreeze down the drains as well. Do that at every single faucet, including the toilet. Once you've gotten antifreeze down those drains and through the hot and the cold side, then you come to the low point drains, which are underneath this skirt metal, which I showed you earlier. Take the caps off on both of them, and then antifreeze is going to start shooting out onto the ground here. Once it's completely pink coming out of those lines, that's how you know you've got antifreeze through the entire system. And once that's done, you're done winterizing. Just make sure that your fresh tank is empty and the black and the gray tanks are empty as well. Just before you do run your antifreeze, again, just make sure that the water is cut off to your water heater, because you don't want to fill this up with antifreeze. One, you waste a ton of antifreeze, and two, it's hard to get it out of here, and you don't want antifreeze inside your water heater because it can sometimes be flammable. Not a good combination there. So just make sure that the water supply is cut off and that the water is drained out of here. To do that draining, just open the pressure relief valve, and then any water in this tank is going to go down this hose and out the bottom. But anyways, once all of that is completed, you are done winterizing. That should be everything. There's a possibility that I may have missed some things. So if you do have questions, please bring them with you to your pickup date. We'd love to answer them for you. We don't want to leave you with anything unanswered, but congratulations on your purchase, and we hope the pickup day goes smoothly for you. But again, please bring questions. And if you want to do any add-ons, talk to your salesman. If anything goes wrong after purchase, you can contact our service department. They can walk you through troubleshooting or getting you scheduled in for service. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.